On the 4th of December, when we came back to Pretoria, we immediately went to Lupus Hospital. So that was when they didn't know if I had lupus. There was just a lot of things that were happening. It was disguised. So the second diagnosis that I had was pneumonia. It hit itself as a pneumonia because it's not really clear when you first diagnose it. So they thought I had pneumonia. So then I was immediately admitted and taken into ICU just so I can breathe, because I was struggling to breathe as well. So I stayed there for like 2 weeks, and I was discharged on the 12th of December. So I came back home and there was really no changes. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, like I literally couldn't do anything with myself. My legs were swollen, my whole body was just swollen. And I remember on the 16th of December, my mom and I wanted us to go out with our family to some, I don't know what to call that place. It's called Semi-Mox Museum in Mamelodi. We went there for like, the 16, manate, So while they were having fun, I was literally miserable. I couldn't do anything because my body was in pain. I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't do anything. I didn't even want to take pictures. So my mom saw the in her no, it's again moto ashabu. So a few days later, I was readmitted in hospital. I went back to Louis Pasteur and they did some CT scans and MRI scans, and they found out that I had water in the lungs. So I was literally So when the scans came back, I was told that I had water in the lungs, and at that moment I was so scared. I was basically like drowning in my own body because of the lungs. And I remember feeling so discouraged and sad. I was actually really angry at myself. How didn't I know? And had I spoken earlier when I had chest pains when I was in Durban, something would have happened. But everything happens for a reason, and at least it wasn't pneumonia. So I remember while I was still in hospital, I thought maybe I could go home for Christmas, and the doctor was like, no, you can't discharge you. What if something happens while you're at home? So I was really frustrated. I remember crying so badly because I'm like, no, I can't spend Christmas in a hospital, and it was just really frustrating. And what was scaring me the most is that while I was in ICU, I was like the youngest person in the whole ward. I was surrounded by old people. So can you imagine somebody as young as I was laying in the same room as people who have lived their whole lives? I mean, they've lived longer than me, and I'm here. I can't say sicker. Can I say sicker? More sick than them. My peers are out enjoying their December, and here am I fighting for my life in hospital. So when he told me, no, you're staying here, I remember on the 26th there's this other event called Dino Cafe. Like everyone wants to go there. I was actually really angry, I couldn't go there. Like, and my aunt likes saying, Dino Kimuloi, because everyone just wants to go to his event. Even people who are in hospital, meaning me, wanted to go. So I was really angry that I couldn't go because I'm just so sick. And I said to her, no, discharge me, I'll go with an oxygen tank, I'll be there in Groove with meaning an oxygen tank. So I was scheduled for surgery on the 27th of December, where I had these like pipes to drain out water. So yeah, no, that was like the most painful thing I've ever experienced. Well, after the stomach flu, because I remember laying in bed just holding myself up because relaxing was painful, and this sort of reminded me of, when Jesus was on the cross after they stabbed him, he was holding himself up. So the moment he let go, he died. So that was like what was playing through my mind, because I felt like I was in a similar situation, because as I was holding myself up on the bed, I was like, that's how much pain I was in. And yeah, no, I don't ever want to go through that. I wouldn't wish that to my worst enemy. Like, I wouldn't. It is just a really bad situation to be in, because it's just so painful. So I remember a few of my friends came to see me. There's this one specific person called Tiamo. Like, he was in disbelief at the situation that I'm in. He couldn't even stare at me because it was just so sad. When you are that, I don't want to say there are people who look like they are capable of being sick, but I'm that type of person. I'm that last person you'd think would be in such a situation. So for him seeing me in such a situation was just really hard, and it hurt me because I felt fine, but he saw I'm not fine, And yeah, I was in ICU for like 2 weeks. My time in ICU was very traumatic because, like I said, I was the youngest, and most of the people who were around me were dying. And I kept on thinking to myself that maybe I'm next, and it was really frightening because there was this lady who was on my right hand side, and the day she died, it was just really sad, because in my head I'm always thinking, these people have lived their lives and here I am. I haven't even reached I haven't accomplished what I want to accomplish, and it seems like my road ends here. So later on the week, I was moved to a different cubicle because of what was happening around me, just so I'm isolated on my own. So the next day, some lady was admitted. She kept on screaming. I would cry all the time because it's really frightening for me, I was in a place whereby people were dying around me. Now this lady is crying and screaming. She's just frustrating everyone. It got so bad whereby I started having these bad dreams. I remember one time I had a dream about committing suicide because being in hospital, it's like being in jail. You can't just discharge yourself. You need to be discharged. You can't do this. You are restricted to doing so many things, and that was just a really hard time of my life, being in ICU at Lupus.
One thing about living with a person that has lupus, they call themselves lupus, is that you must adjust your living conditions. For instance, when she was still at school, boarding school, I had to write to the principal to inform them that there are days whereby she's supposed to be taken to consult her doctors, and they made those arrangements on my behalf. Other than that, is that what I've seen is that the medication is quite pricey. it took us a long before, the medical aid could be able to pay for everything. So I just feel sorry for people who are not on medical aid, who are dependent on, for instance, government hospitals for their medication, because before she was admitted to the chronic medication, we used to pay a lot, something like more than 500 rands a month. So you can imagine if it's a person that is not working and you must pop up that kind of money, it is a lot. Another adjustment is that the kind of medication that she's taking, her treatment, it's got steroids, and they've changed her physique. She has gained a lot of weight, meaning we had to adjust and buy her new clothes. It's a lot, because I don't know, there was a time where she was a size 40 something when she was discharged from hospital, and then there was a time where she was like losing weight, so her weight is also fluctuating, and her eating habit, it has changed. One thing about myself and Nkensan is that we try to eat healthy, but because this lupus gives her mood swings and all that, sometimes she wouldn't want to eat anything in the house, meaning we must go and buy her whatever food that she wants. So yeah, there's a lot of adjustment that needs to be done when you have a patient with lupus in the house. Very bubbly kid. She likes her food. She likes dancing. She was very, very, very active. But one thing about her, she's got a beautiful smile, isn't it? But it wasn't like this. I remember she used to have, what is it called?
A gap.
A gap. But then her dentist managed to close it. She hated it during that time because she was wearing something like a crown at night, and she used to suck her thumb. And one other thing is that she was in boarding school from primary, and she's the one who asked to be taken to boarding school because her mom had a very hectic work schedule, and it was difficult at some time because I had to depend on making phone calls at night to help her with her homework. One day she came, I think she was in grade 5, and she said, no, I'm ready to go to boarding school. So that's when she started with boarding school. So she's very independent. I think that prepared her. She can make friends easy because even people, when they approach her, they are very comfortable with her personality.